Welcome everyone to episode 58 of the Thundercraps podcast, where we forge through the shitstorm that was WCW Thunder. I'm your host, getting my shine on, my grind on, Josh Kaiser. And joining me today, a man who's got more sources than Carter's got pills, Kyle Hoagland.
What's happening, everybody? This, I don't like change. I think I just realized. And I thought losing Lee Marshall was going to be, the biggest thing that we would have had to stomach with. But now I'm starting to think that there was like a real legitimate feud with like Shivani and him making fun of Zbyszko. Because, man, like, there's just a lot of turnover and no explanation whatsoever for it. What's going on?
Yes, it is quite a Thunder. Of course, it is Thunder 58. It is April 7th, 1999. I thought it was going to be April 8th, but of course it is a special Wednesday edition. Kyle, we are 4 days away from Spring Stampede 1999. This is our go-home show. Of course, it is pre-taped, so obviously nothing different. It'll be par for the course from last week, right?
Absolutely. It would not be. It probably would not be the best thing to try a bunch of new shit on a pre-taped show. You want to go in there with both feet forward. And nope, never mind.
Yes, never mind indeed. That said, we open up, of course, cold opening. We got a replay. We're on Nitro. We see all kinds of chaos in the ring. Hogan's there, Goldberg's there, Nash is there. Looks like maybe there was a tag team match of some sort. And out from the rafters comes Sting. Tony Schiavone about loses his damn mind. And then, boom, we move into our Thunder opening. And what the hell? It's even different. We've got the new WCW logo, of course, as Shivani and Conrad refer to it as the exploding vagina logo.
Before we go forward, what is your opinion from the old WCW to the, I guess, right when the company was being bought out? Like, what were your thoughts on the logo? Did you actually like this, or were you like, no, it was like too new for news sake?
Yeah, well, I will say this. Like, back in the day, I don't think I gave it much thought. Nowadays, I look at it and I'm like, man, that is shitty. I love the classic, like, the classic WCW logo. This was just too wild, too modern, and I don't know what they were trying to do here.
It felt like a really crazy overcorrection. Like, the old classic WCW may have been a little, like, lost in time for 1999. Maybe it needed a little bit of, like, let's round some edges a little bit, or whatever the case would be. But, man, this just, they just went nuts on this logo, and it was just, I'll be honest, when I saw it, it almost set me almost like I was taken aback. It was like I wasn't ready to see it when it showed up. I got used to it later, but it's a lot. It's a lot when compared to the old WCW logo, for sure.
It is a lot, but it doesn't stop there, Kyle, because, of course, pre-taped, we're going to get the usual commentary team, or are we? We get Mike Tenay introducing us into Thunder. So, okay, Tenay normally part of the commentary group. No big deal there. He lets us know we are 4 days from Spring Stampede. We do find out that DDP and Sting are now in a fatal four-way, or whatever they're calling this four-corner. I think it's a four corners match with Flair and Hogan. Apparently, everyone realized that we didn't want to see Flair and Hogan for the world title for the fourth time. So what the fuck, let's throw Sting and DDP in there, and Macho Man Randy Savage is going to be the special guest referee. So all kinds of craziness going into Spring Stampede. And we then find out Tenay is joined by Larry Zbyszko. So now all of a sudden, Mike Tenay, Larry Zbyszko, calling this pre-taped go-home edition for Thunder. And Kyle, if you didn't know, the next 4 months, Mike Tenay and Larry Zbyszko for Thunder.
Why? First of all, why?
They decided exploding vagina, Tenay and Zbyszko, this is how we're going to improve on WCW Thunder in 1999.
How are we going to get our quotes?
Well, if Zbyszko is a quoting machine in some fashion. I don't know. I've decided.
Yeah, but he's like an Aristotle type of, like, he'll quote actual real quotes.
Well, and I decided too, I hate Larry Zbyszko's commentary. It drives me insane. I hate the way he pronounces things, and it drives me insane.
He sounds like a wrestler. He sounds like a guy getting over on commentary.
He's got this weird inflection though with it too. I don't know. I would rather take Lee Marshall, honestly. But
ooh, that's a hot take.
Is it? It may be a hot take.
I think Larry Zbyszko is a love him or hate him type of thing. I think some people do enjoy him. I'm in the middle. I really could. I'll say this. No one's going to talk me into thinking that he's a replacement over the Brain, but and I'm okay
God no.
And I think you and I have spoken in length. I think we've spoken in length about a 3-person commentary versus a 2-person commentary team. I think if you have 2 people with good chemistry, I think it does a better job. I think there's too many talk. I think there's too many voices when it's 3.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think you and I are both in agreement that you get the right two people in there, and they can be a great tandem. 3 takes some skill. I will say, I thought Heenan, Schiavone, and Tenay did well together as far as three men groups go. But give me pretty much Heenan and anybody is a good combination. But yeah, I'm not sure Tenay and Zbyszko are going to be up in my upper echelon of best 2-men commentary teams of all time.
Tenay is the type of guy that I will listen to. Like he always has something legit interesting. If you're like a wrestling purist and you want to know about something,
sure,
he's great. He's great to listen to, and he's also very good at calling actually matches as well. Schiavone has always been like the hyperbole, the yes man, the hype guy. So if you want to get excited for, I'll say Tenay will get you more informed. Schiavone will sell more product, and
Heenan will just keep you entertained.
Correct.
And Zbyszko will irritate you, but
and Zbyszko would rather be golfing.
That is true. We are going to move to our opening bout at this point. Rey Mysterio Jr. going to be wrestling Evan Courageous. We find out that Kidman and Rey Mysterio, of course, they are tag team champions. We discussed this last week when Raven and Saturn cost Malenko and Benoit the titles. So Kidman and Mysterio tag team champions, and Kidman also wrestling Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title this Sunday at Strength Stampede. So,
but only if he's able to beat Evan Courageous on Thunder.
Great point. Only if he's able to beat Evan Courageous on this pre-taped Thunder. Spoiler alert: he does beat him with a top rope Frankensteiner. But we also, as far as the match, I thought it was fine. I gave it 2.25 stars. I didn't really care for it. I think I rated it 2.25 because I feel like 2 stars on Thunder is like very generic. And I thought this was slightly better than that, but it wasn't very good. But it was fine for an opening bout, I guess.
Nope, I agree. Also, by the way, I just wanted to go back to when we were talking about the cold open. That was actually not a tag match on Nitro. That was actually a 4 corners match for the world title on Nitro. It was just instead
that
of
doesn't make any sense.
Instead of Sting, it was who would have been the extra guy? Goldberg. So yeah, it was Goldberg, Flair, Hogan, DDP for the world title, and it ended in a DQ, obviously. Which first of all, I didn't think DQs happened in Fatal 4-Ways or Triple Threats.
Well, this is a Fatal 4-Way. This is a 4 corners match.
Oh, right. So okay. So then, yeah, all those rules are out the door. But I just wanted to make sure you were aware that they had a world title match on Nitro, and now they're just going to do the same thing again, except insert Sting, remove Goldberg. I gave this 2.25 stars as well. I thought it was a good starting match. It wasn't going to flirt with anything over 2.5 though. Evan at this current stage of his career, he's not much of a high flyer. So you're not going to see that natural chemistry that the luchadors have with each other. So like something like a Hoovy and Ray, where they kind of like benefit off of each other's own offense. Evan is much more of just like a regular wrestler, but he's very light. So he's got his normal, he's got his power slams and headlocks and shit like that I guess like a normal fucking mid-carder would do. There's not Evan Courageous right in 1999 right now does not have I guess like his own brand of offense that goes, I'd like to see him in a match. He's just Evan Courageous, but whatever. There was a lot of ground and pound, very predictable ending also. I also hated the booking, which is another reason why I couldn't give this 2.5 stars, because this is not a match I can believe in, because Ray is taking on Kidman at Spring Stampede for the Cruiserweight title.
And what are they going to do? Him wrestling Evan Courageous tonight and beating him?
I believe that he would wrestle Evan Courageous and beat him. Absolutely, he did do that. But my whole problem is if he loses, does that mean that Kidman and Ray still fight, but it's just not for the title? Or does that just mean that Kidman is just the number one contender, would take on Courageous? It's questions that you don't want to answer because obviously that is not going to be a thing to think about. That's why I didn't like the booking of this match.
Fair enough. We also do find out during this match that Bret Hart apparently quit WCW Thunder. He quit WCW. We're going to find out they're advertising that he's going to be on NBC, one of their shows, to discuss why he quit WCW Thunder. Why do I keep saying that? Why he quit WCW. So good to see WCW promoting one of their former superstars quitting on a show. So that makes a lot of sense, right?
Oh, sure. That's what you totally do when someone leaves your company. You promote them.
After this, we get our Wrath match of the night. Actually, I take that back. We get a replay before then. It shows Bret Hart. He calls Goldberg a chicken. This brings Goldberg out. Goldberg's going to spear him. Of course, this is the famous scene where Bret's got the chest plate underneath, which I thought was genius for the time. I still think it's a really cool thing here. So he pins Goldberg in the ring, so to speak, gets up, quits WCW. I want to say WCW Thunder every time. This is what happens when you record 58 episodes.
He quit Thunder a year ago.
Touche. We then get a Goldberg Kevin Nash Spring Stampede promo, so we're going to get Nash and Goldberg this Sunday at Spring Stampede. Kyle, doesn't get much better than that, right?
It's April, and you would think that they would have had. First of all, Goldberg hasn't had his rematch that I feel like you would think that a guy who's undefeated would be allowed to have, and now we're finally getting the rematch with Goldberg. And I actually like Goldberg's story right now because he's kind of playing the, I don't want to say Jericho, but the kind of the conspiracy theory guy where he's like, hey, I lost the title in December through very shitty means. I was supposed to get a rematch that I never got. And then Flair got the belt, and then Flair was trying to he doesn't want to wrestle me, so he's going to keep me off the pay-per-views. So now he brought like a bingo cage with him to the ring.
Hey, he was going to pull a lottery to see who his opponent was going to be at Spring Stampede, which is, I mean, I guess we're kind of jumping ahead for that promo, but the thoughts of him pulling it out and be like, I'm going to be wrestling Damien this Sunday at Spring Stampede is kind of funny.
I definitely agree. I would have been rooting for El Dandy myself.
Speaking of Damien, he's going to get squashed against Wrath in the next match with the meltdown. I gave it a star and 3/4.
Oh, really? There's not much else to talk about? The fact that this was a 6-fucking-minute long match?
It was, yes, it was way too long for a Wrath squash match. But on a plus side, I was able to make all my waiver claims in fantasy football during this match. So thank you, Damien and Wrath.
You should have pumped it up to a 2-star, which I did. I gave it 2 stars as I was lamenting of the fact that I don't have Drew Brees for the next couple weeks. But yeah, this match went on for way too long for a day. Damien had way too much offense for the Wrath match of the night. Squashing Damien at this point makes no damn sense. Why are we? I get it. They're trying to push Wrath, but he's done. Like there's nothing about beating Damien puts Wrath anywhere. So
correct.
This was literally just
a waste
filler.
Of time.
It really was.
It was a time to get. It was a ability to give me waiver claims. Tenay, though, does say during the match he wonders why Wrath never was in a title picture conversation, and it's probably because he's wrestling Damien on Thunder. All right,
fucking goddamn Damien. Yeah, stop it, WCW.
After this, Mean Gene's in the ring. He's going to bring out Conan. Conan's rocking a 49ers jersey, which I feel like they're not in San Francisco, but I can't remember where they're at.
They're in Richmond, Virginia.
That's what I wanted to say, Virginia, which I thought was a strange thing for him to wear a Niners jersey.
Well, once again, that's okay, though, because there's no fucking football team in Richmond, Virginia, so he can kind of get away with it. He's kind of in purgatory. He's fine.
Conan, of course, is going to say Conan things before Gene's able to do his promo. We find out that Conan and Disco are wrestling at Spring Stampede, and how Disco has been making fun of Conan's music videos as of late. Conan's going to let us know that he's got a match at Spring Stampede, and this is going to bring out Juventud Guerrera with La Cucaracha, which is, of course, just his commentary, and everybody lets us know is Disco Inferno wearing a mask. La Cucaracha is letting Juvi translate for him, while Gene says he can hear every English word that Disco is whispering to Juvi. We also find out from Gene that La Cucaracha means the cockroach, so Gene is bilingual.
Good to know.
basically, we find out that La Cucaracha thinks Konnan is a bad wrestler and has bad music videos. This is going to lead to Konnan fighting Juvi and Disco, gives him some face smashers, and that's kind of your segment there.
I liked it. I thought it was entertaining enough. It was
fine. Yeah.
I definitely no problem with it. Can we just for a second? And I know that we already talked about Ray and the fact that Kidman and him are the tag champions. I feel so fucking bad for Konnan. Konnan and Ray are mega over.
We're incredibly
as a tag
hot
team.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, let's just randomly put these two together for a cruiserweight story because they got to create some sort of, drama of any type of proportion with the two of them, even though they're buddies. Like, so I'm talking about Kidman and Ray, and I just feel bad because I felt like Konnan's still doing his Konnan things and still giving shout outs to Ray, even though he has no association with Ray other than the fact that Ray's using his music video as his theme music now. So, I mean, he is borrowing from Konnan in that sense, but I really liked the dynamic of Konnan and Ray as a tag team, and that lasted a whole 2 matches after the tag tournament.
No, you make a great point. I mean, they were over and hot, and it seems like they just kind of threw Kidman in there. It doesn't make any sense. I would agree with you that Ray and Konnan would have been much more exciting. We then go to our third replay of the night. We pretty much alluded to it already. This is the Goldberg promo on Nitro where he's talking about he's been, screwed over from the title, all this. He brings out the lottery. He's going to pull a name, who he's going to wrestle at Stampede. Instead, Kevin Nash is going to come out and basically say, you're going to wrestle me. And Goldberg's going to end that promo by saying, Merry Christmas, Goldberg.
I don't get it. Was it just because of Starrcade and it was near Christmas time? Or did he just want to say it to be like Bruce Willis or something? I don't know. Here's the funny thing about wrestling. It's hard to tell sometimes what wrestlers kind of go off the cuff. A lot of the old timers, who don't do scripts, they just kind of say whatever they want to say and just be entertaining for a couple of minutes. But some guys need a fucking script, and one of them is fucking Goldberg. I'm sorry, but I just got one thing to say to you. Merry Christmas. And I just sat there did I just hear that from a guy who's only lost once, probably one of the biggest badasses in wrestling, and he just wished happy holidays to Kevin Nash.
He sure did. After this, though, we get Mikey Whipwreck in action against Hack, who's accompanied to the ring by Chastity. We do find out Bam Bam and Hack are wrestling at Spring Stampede. And this is when Tenay's going to give us our WCW Saturday Night promo for what matches are happening this Saturday.
Dude, he just peppered that bullshit in.
This is what we've come to, Kyle. We've come to Tenay discussing it over a Hack Mikey Whipwreck match.
Episode 58, the death of the Saturday Night promo.
The real death of the Saturday Night promo.
But who knows, dude? Next week, they'll have a fucking video promo again. Who knows?
This match, of course, is kind of what you'd expect from two ECW guys. They're doing a lot of fighting outside. They bring a chair into the match a little bit. Ripwreck is going to go off the top rope and land on a chair, which Tenay's going to say, now that's a wreck. And then Zbyszko's going to add a whipwreck.
Who said that he can't replace Heenan?
Good Lord. We then, Whipwreck's going to take gonna hit Hack with some kendo sticks, but ultimately Hack's gonna reverse it into his little kendo stick Russian leg sweep ordeal. I gave the match 2 stars. I thought it was a fine match, but I wasn't crazy about it or anything.
I gave it 2.25 stars. It was a little slow at times, but I think Mikey made up for it in certain spots. I did like that. As soon as I saw that there was a table on the ground, one thing that Mikey Whipwreck is very famous for, or at least what I always remembered watching him in ECW, is that dude loves to go off the middle of the top rope and miss whatever move he's going to do and land on a chair. So all I thought was oh, please tell me he's going to land on a chair, and he did in the first 4 minutes. I was like, oh, awesome. So it's a classic Mikey Whipwreck. It's really hard to say that name if you want to say it fast. But no, I was fine with the match. I think it was it felt easy for them to do it. Obviously, they've had plenty of matches together. And it also makes sense that Hack goes over because he's going to be taking on Bam Bam. I don't think Mikey Whipwreck has a match Maybe he does. I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked at the card. But the fact that they didn't mention anything about him being on the card, it makes sense that Hack should go over.
I agree. And also, speaking of Bam Bam, after the match, he's going to come out. Of course, he's going to get into it with Hack. He's then going to take the kendo stick and try to hit. Chastity's going to actually hit him with the kendo stick. He's going to no-sell it and then go after her. I really would have loved the idea of him smacking Chastity with the kendo stick. Doesn't happen.
No, I don't think TBS would have cared much for that.
Probably not. After this, we get a very 90s graphics promo here of Scott Steiner, where he's the genetic perfection, and it says, "Can anyone handle Big Papa Pump?" That's going to move us to our next match, Super Calo and Blitzkrieg, which as soon as I saw this, I said, oh my god, Blitzkrieg might actually win a match. We do find out that win or lose, Blitzkrieg is going to wrestle Juventud this Sunday at Spring Stampede, so a lot of, that doesn't
were they trying to hint that was like a stipulation?
Right.
If he can beat Super Calo, he'll then also face on Hoovy for no fucking reason.
But even if he loses Super Calo, he's still going to get rewarded with a match on the pay-per-view. So, not sure what it is. Blitzkrieg is going to win.
Super Calo.
Blitzkrieg's going to win with the Sky Twister, which looks fucking awesome. Even though I know you said he didn't land it well. I just think
camera
it's a cool
angle was
move.
fantastic, so it was fine.
Tenay says his winning ways continue. I feel like this is the first time we've seen him win. Maybe he's been winning on Saturday night or something. I don't know. I gave it 2.25 stars. I thought the match itself was just fine, but I just love that finisher. Love to see Blitzkrieg winning, and can't wait to see what happens with him and Hoovy in a match that means nothing this Sunday.
Hey, he earned it by being Super Calo. And his brand new outfit. I noticed that Super Calo even looks new. New Thunder, new commentary, new mask with goggles that Super Calo now has. I was hoping that Blitzkrieg would break the eyes. He didn't. I would have given this 2.75 if I would have saw it, but he didn't, so I gave it 2.5. I'm glad they had Blitzkrieg finally winning matches. He looked pretty good, and Calo made him look good. My only thing was land your finisher correctly, and we could talk about putting you in the 3-star club.
Yeah, that's he'll get there. He's young. He's learning. We then get a WCW Smash and Slam Wrestlers commercial, and I don't know if you noticed it or not. They said Lex Luger torture rack Sting, which was showed where they basically took Sting and threw him out of the ring, and then it says and Goldberg's gonna hit the jackhammer, but it looked more like the last part of the meltdown. But you know what? They're action figures, so whatever. We then get our 4th replay of the night. This is going to show when Raven came in and interfered, costing Dean and Chris the tag titles. Then they have an interview on Nitro where they basically say, maybe we made a mistake there because we had a tag title match that we just gave away by making the tag champions lose the titles.
Why is it that the tag titles, like if they're the number one contenders for the tag titles, why don't they just fight the tag champions at the pay-per-view?
Right.
Just like every other fucking title.
Yeah, great question. Don't know. We then find there must have been another match that they're showing a replay of where Benoit comes in and helps Ray and Kidman win. I'm assuming maybe they got granted a tag team title match there at that point, but Benoit and Malenko stopped that from happening. So this is pushing the feud between the two teams that could actually be in a tag team title match against each other, but they're not. This is then going to bring us into a Raven versus Chris Benoit match. Raven's sitting in the corner. Benoit comes in and just starts stomping a mud hole in him before the match even started. We then go to commercial break, which it's funny, you and I both noted in this same match. This is like the 3rd match of the night where they just cut to commercial break in the match. Like, what is it about the pre-taped Thunders that we have to break up during the match, as opposed to all the live Thunders where they break at normal times?
Yeah, don't know. It's one of those weird things where if you have a taped show, you have so much control when you feel like you want to go to break. And I don't know if maybe it's because, here's my only opinion about it. If you do it in the middle of a match that you're interested in, you're more prone to watch the commercial and wait for it to come back. If the match is over and you say, hey, we'll be right back, people are more prone to not pay attention to when the show comes back on because there's not a match in progress to follow along. I mean, that seems like the one that makes the most sense to me.
I'll go with it. As for the match,
for bingers like us watching on the WWE Network, it looks stupid.
Pointless. Yeah.
But in 1999, it makes sense that you're like, okay, I probably shouldn't be channel surfing because I know that 3 minutes from now, I don't want to miss what happens in the match.
I don't want to miss what's happening in Raven and Benoit. course, you're going to get a drop toe hold on the chair. Take a drink. Benoit is going to throw Raven onto the chair. He's then going to go for a diving headbutt, but Raven's going to move, and he's going to headbutt the chair.
I wonder if that's going to have any lasting effects on Benoit.
Yeah, well, you never know. And ultimately, of course, Arn Anderson's going to come in and attack Raven for the DQ finish. I gave the match 2 stars. I thought it was a decent match between the two of them, but I'm not crazy about this Arn Anderson interference. They're really, all of a sudden, the Horsemen are a heel tagged or heel stable, which is fine, except they're doing all the heel tactics against all the other heel teams, and like it's the NWO, it's Raven and Saturn. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Agreed. I gave it 2 1/4. I wasn't as mad about the disqualification. It makes sense that no one gets over on this match, mainly because they're going to have a tag match. So I could see that this match was going to get thrown out. I just didn't like where and when the DQ finish happened. It wasn't like anybody was prone to win yet. Like, it'd be one thing if Raven came out of nowhere with the even flow and Arn just went in there to, just to make sure that his boy didn't get pinned, but like it felt like the match was still kind of in the middle of the match, and then that's when Arn decided to get in there and stop the match. So I didn't like the timing of it, but I totally understand, and I was okay with the execution of it. It was just the timing I thought was bad.
All right, fair enough. After this, we move into I guess in the post match we do have there. It looks like Arn might get an even flow. But instead, Saturn's going to come in. Then this brings Dean in. Dean's going to drop a Death Valley driver on Saturn. Tenay here seems fine. So again, I'm not sure. Are they making the Horsemen heels? Are they not? I don't know. But then we move to our 5th replay of the night. This, of course, is that 4 corners match you referred to. It's Hogan, Goldberg, DDP, and Flair. Nash is on commentary. And they're going to show a lot of this match. I thought we were going to get the highlights. No, we're going to get half the fucking match.
We basically got the last 6 minutes of it.
Right. Eventually, Nash is going to get involved into the match. This is going to end to DQ. This is, of course, Sting descending down. He's in the ring with Goldberg. He's going to point his bat around the ring, and they're going to say, what does Sting mean by this? Meanwhile, I hear some child yelling, "Ric Flair sucks," over and over, quite clearly. Which made me laugh, and that's kind of your replay.
You also noticed that we also have the new Nitro set too.
We do have the new Nitro set. You are correct there, which makes more sense why we all of a sudden saw the new WCW logo on this episode of Thunder.
And if anybody wants to have a good laugh, go to YouTube and type in WCW new set versus wrestlers, and you just see it's no joke. It's like 30 wrestlers who can't go down that ramp. Like, they trip on it. They get their like their foot gets stuck in. There's like a trap door somewhere that keeps on like caving in, and people like just trip and fall and stumble down. It's so fucking funny. Do yourself a favor and YouTube it. It's one of the more funny botches, just because you would think that after like a couple of those times happening, you think they'd do something with it to fix it. Nope, they fucking don't, and they just continue to have people tripping over it on live television.
We then get Macho Man narrating a promotion for this main event at Spring Stampede. And then now we get to our main event. Booker T, Chris Jericho, television title on the line. I don't know about you, but this just felt like a weird main event.
Also, it was a match that took place on Nitro 2 days before. This was also the U.S. Title tournament match was between these two. And then now it's a TV title on Thunder for Tape Thunder. So yeah, it's a little weird in that regard, but I think what's always weird is that when you already know the story of the television title and Chris Jericho's now fighting Booker T for the TV title, there's a part of me that's like, I don't even think Jericho wants to win that title. So, like, what's the point in putting him in it other than just to get him on TV? But I was looking forward to the match. But yes, it was very why these two? But once again, Jericho's now known as a former television champion, so I guess it makes sense to put him in this match.
No, don't get me wrong. Booker T and Jericho, that's great on paper here. Originally, we were going to have like 20 or 25 minutes for the main event when it was announced being the next upcoming match. But by the time we get that whole replay from Nitro, we get their entrances. Jericho comes in and does his classic, ask Dave Penzer what town it is in, says it's his favorite town, his favorite people. They then wander around the ring looking at each other, almost lock up. By the time they actually do lock up and there's any action, we went from 20 or 25 minutes to 9 minutes. Maybe closer to 7 or 8 minutes by the time, because they kind of tangled up, then stopped, and then walked around again. Jericho's going to actually leave this match, which is going to bring Booker T, grabbing him to bring him back into the ring. Jericho's going to do kind of the old Ric Flair begging in the ring here. He's going to play the heel tactics. Ultimately, towards the end of the match, Booker T's going to hit an axe kick, his 110th Street Slam, but then he's going to, the ref's going to get knocked out. He's going to do a spin-a-rooney, Harlem sidekick. It looks like with the ref knocked out, Booker T's not going to get the win here. Scott Steiner, as Booker T goes to the top for the missile dropkick, Scott Steiner comes out, hits him with the chair, so Jericho's going to win this, puts it in the Lion Tamer, but wait, Stevie Ray comes in, whiffs big time with the slapjack, but it's going to knock Jericho out. Booker T's going to get the win. I gave it a star and 3/4. I thought this match sucked between the two of them. I thought it was terrible. I hated the ending, and you disagree a lot with me. But before I let you discuss the match, I just want to say they do mention when Stevie Ray hits Jericho with the slapjack that he is the new leader of the Black and White. So congratulations, Stevie Ray, on winning that Battle Royal on Nitro.
Well deserved. I think this was the third match that he won that would decide the leadership, and he won all three of those matches.
Let's do it again next week.
That's right. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know if you saw me live change my rating down a quarter.
No, I was gonna say. I thought I read 2 3/4, but I did not watch you live change it.
Only reason why I lowered it, and nothing to do with what you said. But I do remember watching it, and it felt like at the very beginning there was a lot of starting and stopping of the match. There was a lot of like Booker T will clothesline him or throw him out of the ring or just push him aside, and then he'll just kind of go to the corner and kind of look at the crowd and go, his normal bullshit. And he did that a lot in this match, and once again just kind of slowed down the match that I didn't want slowed down already. So I just remembered I didn't really care much.
Very slow. That's part of the reason I didn't like it.
But the thing I did like about this is because they threw a lot of stuff at this match. There's a lot to talk about at the end of this match between, Scott Steiner getting involved and what is Stevie Ray doing. I did enjoy that. And I think the match itself was, I don't think it was a wrestling clinic of any sorts. But I think there was some entertainment to it. I think the crowd was super into this match. Once again, the whole Jericho is, basically saying, kiss my ass, I'm leaving. And then he basically just, gets thrown around the guardrails and sent back in. That's a cool little, thing for the crowd and for TV to watch Jericho kind of get his shit kicked in a little bit. The person I feel bad for, though, is Jericho. In 1999, we know what the future lies in store for Jericho at some point. But right now with Jericho currently,
AEW World Champion.
I just feel bad because he's in the middle of what I call a firing squad, where he's being put in matches that he's doomed not to win. And it's not because he's letting other people get over. It's just he's in a match. The last 3 matches, and maybe I'll even count the Scott Steiner match, even though I guess at this point Scott Steiner's going to go over on Jericho, unfortunately. But Scott Steiner, I think at this point, is a bigger heel than Jericho and is just an overall presence that's a little bit bigger than Jericho is in 99. But the other matches he was in, he had that, he got back into the tournament, fights Booker T, and loses the match because Scott Steiner just came in and hit Booker T with a chair. So Jericho automatically loses the match. So that screws him out of the tournament again. So now he's in this match where he actually is jobbing in a sense because of the interference. I always said, at this point, I don't know where Jericho goes as far as his limited time he has left in WCW. And the other thing I thought was funny was that Scott Steiner is over there trying to beat up Booker T and screwing him over every chance he gets. But in doing so, he now has to fight Booker T for the U.S. title. Why? You would think that the thing you'd want to do is screw with him and make it so that he doesn't succeed. But instead, he hits him with a chair in front of the ref during a tournament match. So he automatically wins, and automatically he has to fight Booker T at Spring Stampede. You would think he would rather want to fight someone like Jericho, who he had already beaten in the tournament. If he wants the easiest way to the title, take on the guy you already beat in the tournament. But instead, he's fucking so much with Booker T, but his own interference and stupidity is resulting in him having to let Booker T's going to get a shot at him. So I thought that was kind of dumb. But I did like that there's a lot of questions at the end of this Thunder pertaining to this match. And that's what you want. You want, like, oh my God, like, what's Scott Steiner thinking? Or what the hell's going on with Stevie Ray and his brother? Are they getting back together? Did Booker T, was he even aware that his brother was there? Like, there's just a lot of things that I was actually really okay with. Most of it had not much to do with the content of the match, though, as far as, like, the wrestling involved. But I actually did like how it concluded.
Well, that did conclude our Go Home edition for Thunder 58 for Spring Stampede 1999. What did you think about this new and improved Thunder?
For a taped Go Home show, I actually thought it was one of the better Thunders I've seen in a while. I was glad that they allowed Blitzkrieg to look impressive and get a win on TV. Like I said, it's the first time I think we've seen it. I think the crowd overall was all about it. Tenay was super into Blitzkrieg. I like that now. I think the matter has been put to bed about what the Horsemen are. They are obviously a heel stable now, and I'm glad that that's been kind of explained. I also, God, it's hard to. This has nothing to do with Zbyszko. I enjoy listening. If I want to watch wrestling, I want to listen to wrestling. I could probably count on 3 fingers guys that I could trust calling play-by-play, and Mike Tenay is up there on the top of that list. So I do enjoy him calling the commentary. I am not the jury's still out to me for Larry Zbyszko. I do agree with you. He can be very irritating on commentary. You would think that, Zbyszko is supposed to be kind of like the Jerry Lawler, where it's like like an old school wrestler with a good personality. And Larry Zbyszko's got charisma oozing out of him. That we can't deny. But the guy just, I don't know. I feel like his delivery just isn't there. He's been doing this for a couple of years now, as far as doing commentary. So I don't think he's going to get any better. But I just like the knowledge that Mike Tenay shows, and like I said, Shivani's kind of the hype guy, and maybe it'll be better to have the hype guy on Nitro. But it's whatever. But I think overall, I think they definitely went over a lot of the storylines for a lot of the matches. If they didn't do it in like a lot of explanation, they did enough recap to kind of get everything going. I think the only thing they really didn't hit much was the U.S. tournament. We know who's in it, but it really wasn't discussed all that much. But we did see Steiner try to interfere, so we do still see that. But yeah, do we know from this Thunder who's in the finals for that tournament? Yes, we do know that we do know it's Steiner versus Booker T. Did they tell us that? Okay. Well, they tell us in the sense that they said that they said, I think the quote was, Scott Steiner, who is already in the finals, hit Booker T with the chair on Nitro for the other semifinal match, which then caused a disqualification, and Booker T won. So that sense we know Booker T is in the finals, Scott Steiner's in the finals. Therefore, using the transitive theory, right, they should be fighting at Stampede. Okay. You liked this Thunder a little bit more than I did. I thought it was a little disappointing. I know they were trying to make it fresh and different, and I feel like the pre-tape show was not how they should have started. I get why they did it because they just did it on Nitro, but you almost wish that they just waited one more week. But they add the new commentary, which it's going to be 4 months of Zbyszko and Tenay. I'm not excited about that. It was a go-home show. And you're right, they did discuss a lot. They pushed a lot of the card. I think what disappointed me the most is Flair and Hogan are here at this pre-tape show. They're in the main event, and we don't get them on this Thunder. And I guess in retrospect now, okay, it's a fatal 4-way, so it wouldn't make as much sense to have those two. It doesn't make sense because they changed the stipulation of what the main event's going to be on that Monday, and so there's no way that they would be able to come out there and talk about that. So it's fair. I don't know. It was okay. I didn't love it.
but it wasn't. We've seen a lot worse, that's for sure. That said, that's our show this week. So if you haven't yet subscribed, go do it. Leave us a 5-star rating. Let us know what you think. Of course, give us a follow on social media at Thundercraps. You can always go to thundercraps.com for all of our previous episodes. And then go check out Spring Stampede 1998. Let's see who wins the Four Corners match. Sting is back. Macho Man's back. We got a lot of the superstars back as we head into Thunder 59. That'll be back on Thursday nights. Mike Tenay, Larry Zbyszko live in person. Going to be a whole new dynamic for those two. That'll be the April 15th, 1999 edition. Taxes are due, and so is Thunder. So for Kyle Hogan, I'm Josh Kaiser, and we will see you next time on the Thundercraps podcast.
We are stompedingly out of time. Merry Christmas.